Today we're going to answer the question, are Christians allowed to eat pork? First of all, we have to talk about where does the idea of not eating pork comes from in the first place. Well, this idea is part of the dietary laws given through Moses to Israel, found in the Torah. Specifically in Leviticus 11, telling Israel that they are to only eat whatever divides the hoof and chews the cud. And God goes on to explain that these land animals must possess both properties to be considered clean. Part of these unclean animals is the pig, because although it divides the hoof, thus making split hoof, it does not chew the cud. Keep in mind that you also have God telling Noah after the flood in the Torah, in Genesis 9:22-3, every moving thing that lives shall be food for you. So those unclean animals is part of God's good creation, which includes the pig, which would mean God didn't set this law because it's inherently a sin, but it was there to allude to some greater meaning, spiritual meaning. So, what was the greater meaning for the limited consumption of meat? The answer to this is not found in the Old Testament, but specifically in the New Testament. Actually, specifically in Peter's vision found in Acts 10:9-16, where Peter went up to the housetop to pray. Then he became hungry. He fell into a trance and saw a great sheet coming down, which had all kinds of four-footed animals and crawling creatures and birds of the sky. A voice tells him to slaughter and eat. And Peter recognizes that it is the voice of the Lord, but he still refuses, for he has never eaten anything defiled and unclean. God then responds with, what God has cleansed, no longer consider it defiled. And this happened 3 times. 3 men, having been sent, were looking for Peter, and Peter invites them into the home and travels back with the men the next day. Peter later reveals the meaning of his vision in Acts 10:28. God has shown me I should not call any man defiled or unclean. As the reader, you start to catch on that the vision happened 3 times, so that each time might represent that each of the 3 men who came to visit, who were Gentiles, has been classified from unclean to clean. Since the spiritual meaning is now fulfilled through the death and resurrection of Jesus, the physical law became meaningless. After all, the spiritual meaning is deemed more superior, for that what is seen was not made out of things that are visible. With that being said, you have to accept that as a born-again Christian, you are dead to the law of Moses, but now out to follow the law of Christ. What did Jesus say about the consumption of meat? One of the well-known scriptures pertaining to this topic is Mark 7:15, in which Jesus says, there is nothing from outside the man which going into him can defile him, but the things which proceed out of the man are what defiles the man. And he explains what he meant in Mark 7:17-23. So, don't throw away the pork in the bin. The word of God has shown that yes, it is lawful to eat pork, or any other animal for that matter. But just keep in mind what Paul said. All things are lawful for me, but not all things are profitable. See you in the next one.